bit over a month after the launch of Black Ops 6, it is finally time to ask the question, did Treyarch cook, or are they just getting lucky with the first two maps? And Citadelle definitely gives us that answer, and I think they are absolutely cooking with zombies this year, and I think that we are in for a super nice and super fun time for a year filled with great zombies maps. Citadelle is a beautiful map. The castle design is awesome. I love the look of it. I love the detail, the little details, the big details, the statue designs, the spawn room when you come in there and then walking up, going right to opening the castle door with a cannon. It all adds to this level of aura that we haven't seen in zombies in a little bit, and I don't even think Terminus really had. Terminus was a cool map, but it didn't give you that awe factor, and I definitely would say my first playthrough through this map gave me that awe factor. The map is not super complicated to get opened. There's very few doors you really have to open, and then the rest of them are optional that you can do as you go along the map. But it also is a super tight map, which we haven't had yet. I think that having a tight map is a good thing. Every zombies game should have one. Terminus and Liberty Falls both felt like very open, wide maps, and that is good for people who want to learn the game, but I think that zombies games need that tight map to really challenge you on the things that you learned from the open maps, and Citadelle being the third map is a perfect map for that. You got the first two maps who are really open, pretty easy to get set up, pretty easy to get going, but they have maybe some more length to them, while Citadelle is more of a straight to the action type map, but it really challenges you on your gameplay mechanics and what you need to learn, and I love that about it. I think the addition of Vulture is fantastic. I was really worried about it when they first announced it. I was kind of like, why would you bring back Vulture? But now that they've brought it back and I've leveled it up a lot, it is a good answer to some of the problems that we've had with the salvage system, with the money system. It doesn't fix it completely, but it adds a way to kind of help boost those areas, getting more salvage and having options to just make zombies make more salvage, or getting more money, and with double points being able to kind of speed that process up with the little drops that you get. It definitely helps, and it's noticeable to me when it comes to leveling my guns or opening up the map or buying my perks for the high rounds. Vulture kind of adds a little bit of edge that was taken off, a little bit of that stress, a little bit of that like money management and inventory management off. You still have to do some of it. I usually can still only get up to like one gold weapon and like that kind of thing. But instead of it being, wow, I can only do this by round 32, I'm only doing it by round 24, 22 now. So I can really get those Easter eggs going. And if I wanted to push it to those higher rounds, I could. But the Easter egg on this map is difficult. The setup is fine. It really isn't that bad of a setup. It is Der Eisendrache, but minimized. A lot of the steps kind of seem like they follow that pattern, especially with the elemental orb step at the end. That kind of reminded me of that tablet step from the Der Eisendrache Easter egg. But it is an easy, simple Easter egg to get set up. It usually takes me about 25-30 minutes to get all the steps done if I'm going efficiently. And now that I've done it a couple of times, I can really get that setup going really quickly. So it's not a hard Easter egg to set up, but the boss fight is super difficult. And I'll talk about that a little bit later at the end of the video. I don't want to spoil anything for people who want just the map information. So if you want to see boss fight footage and want to hear my more opinions on it, just wait till the end of the video. I think the Doppelgeists are a nice addition to boss zombies. Manglers felt very imposing, and I know they've nerfed the damage, and I haven't really messed with them, but the Manglers just felt like they were super one-shotty. There was a million of them at the end, and that got extremely stressful to the point where it felt almost unfun sometimes. But the Doppelgeists add a level of stress that is just, you have to make sure you take them out immediately. You can kind of outrun them with stamina and that kind of stuff, but if you're not careful about where you take them out or how you take them out, they can really do some damage to you or put you off of a track, especially with the distortion effect and stuff like that on your screen. So I think that they're a cool balance to boss zombies, especially I needed a break from Manglers after the first two maps being filled with them. Now that we have a map without Manglers, it is nice to see what the game kind of feels like without that one-shot Mangler mechanic there. I love that. I think that this is a great mini-boss zombie, and I think that the Amalgam 2 being addition in this map, especially with the nerf damage, it actually helps a lot. Just to kind of add that flow of the map, the imposing of the map, and we were like, oh shit, this zombie's kind of scary. But it doesn't one-shot you or kill you anymore. It just kind of ruin the fun and the flow, which absolutely love that. The wonder weapons are cool too. They look cool. I have some issues with them, and I will talk about them pretty shortly here. But they look cool. The designs of them are cool, and I love they always cook with an elemental weapon in terms of design and interaction and that kind of stuff. So the setups for them just like the Easter egg, super easy. Honestly, once you get the stamp and you get the sword, it'll probably take you about 5, maybe 10 minutes to set up one of those swords. So it's not challenging at all, and they're all useful. Um, and they look great to look at. The setup processes, while they're simple, they're all kind of enjoyable in their own way. They all have these fun little mini game things to them. And that is always fun to do in zombies. It breaks up the gameplay a little bit, and it doesn't put a full stop to like a 45-minute section like maybe you would have to do with the bows, even though that's an exaggeration on the actual time limit on how it take you to do the bows. It just feels less like a, oh my god, I have to do the bow step, this is going to take forever, and more of like, all right, let's just get this sword upgraded, cool, got it going, now I can play the map. I usually get my sword upgraded the round I get it, and like it's pretty quick, like I said, so I'm right into the gameplay, right into the meat and potatoes of the map almost immediately, and that feels way better than having to do some sort of like setup thing. With every Call of Duty launch, there's tons of bugs. This one seems to have too many. I've every time I log into YouTube or every time I talk to one of my friends in Discord and stuff like that who's been really running the Easter egg on the side, there's just a new issue all the time. There's a lot of boss issues, it disappearing. There was weird idolize issues where it was like standing still. You were being able to one-shot it with the drill, which was kind of funny, but also like just not, like it's not intended, of course. Swords have a lot of issues. When you use the double click activation to really get that power going, to get that special ability going, it sometimes has an issue where I don't know if it's the inputs that you have to do with your keyboard, if you're just doing way too many inputs and then you're doing mouse inputs and the game's just like getting confused, or if it's like sprint cancellation or something like that. But the wonder weapon just seems to like not activate sometimes, so you go to activate it and then it just doesn't work, and then you have to kind of try to like reactivate it, and that is not good for training, or that is not good for any sort of sticky situation, because a wonder weapon, if it's a utility wonder weapon like these ones seem to be, you want to be able to use that utility to help you get out of those situations that are stressful, or like those sneaky little corner situations. But instead, I feel like I have to warp my gameplay around using the weapon and making sure that I'm like super far away and at a safe distance and like that kind of stuff. But then I don't get the most effectiveness out of the wonder weapon, and that's not fun. That's not a good thing. I think that having more of an instant use of those wonder weapons, so they just kind of like immediately are activatable, instead of the weird delay issues that are happening, would definitely go a long way with them. It just makes it so you don't have to do a lot to be stressed out, but you also can kind of really not have to die from stupid things like your sword not activating and you're expecting the crow sword to put your black hole down, and then it just flails around for 3 or 4 attempts and then eventually puts the black hole down. But by the time that happens, your armor's gone and then you're half dead or something like that. Not cool. It's not fun to deal with that. I really hope they fix that in the future. There's been quest progress issues. Saving and quit issues are big right now. If you save and quit, sometimes it just like resets your quest progress, or you just literally can't continue the Easter egg at all. One of my friends, while he was doing the Easter egg, had an issue where the trap step was just not working with the symbols. It just stopped showing them completely, and they couldn't figure out which trap for which symbol, and they kind of knew the order because of the way they picked up the papers, but the papers in the book also weren't showing up, so they were just stuck guessing and checking until they eventually got all 4 done, and they were able to progress this step, so thankfully it didn't completely soft lock them. But that is an annoying issue to have. If you can't even read the quest step, you don't want to restart to go back. You want to continue your Easter egg run, and that is just annoying, especially if you wasted gobblegums and all that kind of stuff. You're not going to restart, but it's also, you shouldn't have to guess and check to make sure that the Easter egg is working correctly, and you also shouldn't have to guess and check on the steps of the Easter egg to see if you even did it. The wonder weapons don't really feel wonderful. Like I said, they're utility wonder weapons. They're definitely there to provide an extra thing to your kit, but the problem with utility wonder weapons is it throws you into this weird static gameplay loop, I feel, where, especially with the swords, with how buggy they can be and how long it can take to charge some of them, you can't really use them as effectively as you could maybe another wonder weapon or something like that. I just end up choosing not to use my sword most of the time. I keep like the lion's sword on me for like sticky situations to really quickly regenerate my health and stuff like that. That seems to be the most effective and honestly consistent one in terms of activation for me and use. But I would love to be able to use the crow sword or like the fire sword for more, but they just also impractical. Feels awkward to shoot the fireballs. Definitely not my favorite thing about the fire sword. And the lightning sword just feels like it doesn't do damage, or at least nearly enough damage in a consistent amount of time for it to be effective. It slows you down, it slows the zombies down, but also like it just doesn't one-shot them. So you still have to worry about the zombies behind you while you're also moving at that slow pace. It's just not fun on that one. I'm actually not a huge fan of the lightning sword. I love the incantations though. I didn't say that earlier, but I do want to say that I do love the incantations. I think they're more of the shining wonder weapon of this map than the swords are, which is sad to say. But the lightning incantation can one-shot amalgams and doppelgangers, and the swords really can't. So that's nice. I mean, the lightning sword and the fire sword, while they do damage, they kind of do it over time, a little tick damage, or if the fire sword maybe is immediate, but it just kind of feels weird to shoot. Whereas the lightning sword and the crow sword, they do one shots to maybe a horde or like a chunk of zombies, but they're not the most effective for the boss zombies. And that's where the incantations kind of take up their place. But I would rather use the incantations half the time than the swords, honestly. I feel like I can kill more zombies with them. I feel like they're way more effective and way more of a utility than the wonder weapon. And that's not something you want to say about the wonder weapons of the map, especially if there's 4 of them. There should be at least one of them that you're like, holy shit, this is the one. But none of them really give you that, oh my god, I need this factor. It's just yeah, I get the sword, I guess. The gameplay loop for high rounds it's a mixed bag. A lot of it is just sit in one room. I'll put footage up here of me using the trap strat. It's so goofy. You literally just look at the ground with the rocket launcher and sit in the damage traps. And you just continuously wail on the zombies, and you can fly through rounds. I had a couple of areas where I was doing, a couple of rounds every 2 minutes or something like that. It was insane, the speed and insane the efficiency. It can be very stressful the moment that trap runs out when all the zombies flood in. But if you can get a good flow of that, you can fly through to round 100, no problem. But I could help deal with those things if I could use the incantations in those fights, and you can't. So the incantations work very weirdly. I guess it's intended because they're for the Easter egg, so you have to start the Easter egg to kind of get those incantations. But the problem with doing that is if you start the Easter egg by talking to the old Mancraft in the basement, it activates the trap step immediately. So that is the first step of the Easter egg. You go punch the wall with a melee macchiato. You go do the traps, get the pages from the stamina up room, put them in there, do them in that order, and that starts immediately. The problem with that is the traps deactivate, and they're on a shorter timer, way shorter timer than if they just work normally. So if you wanted to use incantations for high rounds, you'd either have to do the entire Easter egg, or you're going to have to do the trap step in your run. And while it's not a hard step to do, so it's really not that bad, it's an inconvenience to have to maybe take a picture of all the symbols or run back and forth. But you can do it. It's manageable. Where it becomes unmanageable is when you save and quit, and then you have to do the trap step on round 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 or 100 plus, and then it just becomes ineffective because you can't do that trap step on that low of round. The amount of zombies that are spawning in and super sprinters and how tight the areas are, you need those traps to work effectively, and if they're on that short timer, it just completely kills them. It completely kills the use for them, and you're just fucked. You're completely screwed. I don't like that. I wish that there was the activation of the trap step after you put the pages in and you do the panel step, or the moment you do the panel step maybe, that activates that trap step. But it would still be nice to be able to get the stuff from Croft early without having to activate that trap step. So if people who wanted to just play the game and use the incantations effectively, they could do that without having to be completely stumped on gameplay when you need something like this, the high damage infinite ammo traps that they have on the map to deal with some of these tight spaces and tight areas, especially if you're going to pack a punch or you're going to just like get quick revive or something like that. You're going to get screwed in those tight rooms if you don't have something to deal with it, and if those traps aren't working, you're going to have nothing to deal with it other than, I guess, your gameplay and field upgrades, which can only carry you so far until they kind of run out. The Vermin rounds also just feel very weird right now. I think that this is just they're not a good spot. They're shorter, which is way nicer. I would prefer them to be short than to be long, definitely. But the Vermin just feel like they do way too much damage on top of the parasites, and I know that's kind of their intention. And I know when the map launched, they got a nerf, but it just feels like they still do way too much damage. I come around a corner and a Vermin will 3-shot me, or a parasite will lay into me, and by the time I turn around to try to fix myself, there's a Vermin behind me, and I turn around to face him, and he one-shots me because I have no health left. I understand that they're supposed to be like this scary sort of force on top of the boss zombies. And in a normal horde situation, they don't necessarily bother me that much, but on the round specified for them, they spawn in such a rate, and there are just so many of them at once that the damage numbers just don't feel like they balance out equally, and it's just way more stressful than it is convenient to have those rounds in the game, and I don't love that. Overall, I want to just give the map a rating. I did that for the other two, so I figured, in line, might as well keep it. I'm going to give the map about a 7.5 out of 10. I do think it's a great map. I do genuinely have a lot of fun with this map. I've played a lot of it since its release. It just has a lot of, majorly just bugs, and it really needs some more balance issues with the wonder weapons and stuff like that to make it a map that is going to be like, whoa, this is insane. I think it's a map that you should go back to. I think it'll be one that maybe you want to shoot the shit with your friends. Hey, let's play Citadelle Day more. It's basically just easier Rise and Drak at this point. So I've done plenty of late nights playing Rise and Drak with my friends, and if we all have Black Ops 6, might as well hop on Citadelle Day more because the setup's way easier, so you can just get straight to the late night podcasts and stuff like that of you guys just shooting the shit. So I think definitely this is like a more, while it's stressful and it'll be kind of a insane map to play, it is also more of a casual leaning map with the speed of setup and just kind of like the ease to the end gameplay that people really like. And a lot of people aren't making it to 50, 60 plus with 4 friends. So getting to those 25, 30 rounds or whatever gets you a couple hours of gameplay at most, and you really just get to have that good time. And I think that's what this map is going to be really good for, is just hopping in, shooting the shit with your friends, playing a little bit of it, but while having something really beautiful to look at while you're doing that, and also just having a good time. It's a good map. It is fun. It's super fun, and the stress the tight areas add a level of like, oh my god, I'm here, like this is insane, I have to really clock in here for a second. That's nice. I think that maps need that. They need that stress factor, and they need that intensity, while also still being fun to play, just in general. I'm going to talk about the boss fight now. Yay! I wanted to save it for the end, just because I don't want to overload people. And by overload, I mean just, like, spoil shit. If they really wanted to beat the Easter egg, I want them to get there. The boss fight's awesome. I think the arena looks amazing. Again, Rise and Drak references all over the place. Reminds me a lot of the boss fight arena from back there, but on just a more insane level, with the lava flowing in and him shooting fireballs at you. His damage is insane. Just like the Terminus boss, he can one-shot you, but he's got a lot more ranged things to shoot you with. Fireballs, stomps, that kind of stuff. He can jump and land on you. That's super hard. It's super difficult. I've only beat it once, and I've attempted it probably 5 times, so I wouldn't say it's for the faint of heart necessarily, but it is a super satisfying thing to beat, and it just looks amazing. I mean, they're really cooking with these boss fights. This is the thing that gets me the most excited for the future of zombies. I mean, like, you have boss fights like this. What are they going to cook up for the more insane? Because they're probably just going to keep ramping it up. So I'm excited for the next one, but I'm even more excited for the final one to see how they end out this finale of insane boss fights and all that kind of stuff. Again, it is an exciting time for zombies. I think these 3 maps are a great rollout of things to show, hey, this is what we're working towards this year, and this is kind of our idea of what we want for zombies, and I think they're going in a great direction. And if they continue this momentum with the next couple of maps, we're going to be eating this game up, and it's definitely going to be a zombies game that I'm going to come back to and continuously play in the future. Yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. We've had insane interaction and growth, by the way. I would just like to thank you all. I've had a lot of views on my videos, a lot of comments, a lot of likes. We've gained a good amount of subscribers since I've started uploading a month ago. So I really do appreciate everybody just interacting and going. And I really want to know your guys' opinion on this map. I want to know what bugs you have, because honestly, while bugs are annoying in this scenario, I kind of think some of them are really funny. Amalgam's flinging you, boss just saying nope and disappearing from the map, that kind of stuff. While it's annoying to deal with, it's also kind of funny to look at. So I'm kind of curious what kind of bugs you guys have been running into. What do you like? What do you dislike about the map? Are you guys in the same temperature check as everybody else, or are you guys not liking it? Go ahead and leave a comment. Make sure you guys like and subscribe as well. It really does help out the channel. And yeah, I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye bye.